What's going on, everyone? So, the San Antonio Spurs once again blow another one, and that was another just tough loss, right? Obviously, you just lost to the Warriors literally 2 days prior. You're 0-2 on this homestand. You have 5 games at home, and I understand, people look at it, read the comments, stuff like that, and people were like, hey, you're not going to win every road game or every game, period. But the Spurs have a ton of road games coming up, right? And they have a tough stretch coming up. And one of the things about a young, inexperienced team is at some point they're going to have a stretch where things get a little rocky, right? And you want to create as much cushion and separation, and you want to try to win as many of these games that you should win as possible. This was a game that they should have won. They were up 10 late. They felt in control on several occasions, kept making big plays. They had a great sequence where I think it was Fox got a steal, and then Stephon Castle made a real big play, and then Wemby got a block right after. And it was just okay, they're doing the things necessary to go out, pull out this win. Warriors, experienced, good team. Steph's having another just ridiculous night, and it felt like a game that you should have won. And once again, just like the Laker game I talked about, this was a game that felt like inexperience lost to experience. That when it got down and it was close and it was hey, who's going to make the play or two that's going to decide this game? The Warriors ended up making the plays towards the end that the Spurs just were unable to do. And it's just, it's frustrating to see these types of losses. They're a young team, right? I'm not saying this is Chicken Little, sky is falling or anything like that. Look, I don't think that they're winning a championship this year necessarily. Could you go on a deep playoff run? Sure, right? You get the right matchups, things kind of go your way a little bit, kind of, Wemby playing otherworldly, all that stuff. Maybe De'Aaron Fox kind of settles in. I'll touch on him here in a moment. But, this is my concern, and the reason I don't expect the Spurs to actually win a championship, because they look the part at times. At times, you're like, man, this team, and I do think that they could beat anybody, but you're really seeing the inexperience. And you've seen it on several fronts this season. And, they've kind of squeaked out a couple that could have went another way, but they've lost the ones against the teams that are trying to compete for championships and are experienced in that front and have the players that know what it takes to win, make the big plays down the stretch and whatnot. And the Spurs just don't really have that. You're hoping De'Aaron Fox would be kind of the guy. And I even talked about when he came back, right? He has a lot to prove as a player, being a winning player and a winning contributor to a team, because he had one season with Sacramento, right, in which he was on a winning team and forced the Warriors to a Game 7. And that was, again, kind of a series that was just hey, this is a rising team that took an L to the defending champs and all that stuff. And then De'Aaron Fox didn't really do much since then. And, I even talked about it. When the Spurs went and traded for Fox, which they gave up peanuts for, Spurs actually got worse, right? He's kind of just out there playing in a lot of ways. Now, I want to be fair. I want to give him time and a chance to kind of really figure stuff out and evaluate, right? And kind of work on the two-man game and all that stuff. But it is something that is concerning that you kind of keep an eye on. Just his shot selection down the stretch and just some of his decision-making down the stretch as your point guard and your closer and the guy that's supposed to, be the veteran with the experience that is supposed to help close out those games. De'Aaron Fox is one of those guys that, he's every year is in the top as far as clutch goes, as far as fourth quarter scoring goes, all that stuff. And it's just, you're looking for him to be that for a young Spurs team, be the guy that can close. Obviously, there's going to be bad nights, there's going to be bad games, there's going to be bad stretches. And obviously, it's one of those things. He hits a couple of those threes. We're having a different conversation. We're praising him and talking about how great he is, but he didn't, right? And it's just, you got to stop losing these type of games. One here and there, sure, they happen. But you've lost 2 of these in the last 5 games, and you lost twice to the same team. And it's why I stressed the importance of that first Warriors game, that first Warriors win, and even after I came on and I was like, man, that's the one that hurts because, and people kind of push back on it, which is fine, but this just showed why I expressed that, and it's because, again, it's you have the inexperience, you have a very experienced team coming on your home court that, you've been, at the time, best road team in basketball, one of the best road teams in basketball, right? Not losing at home. Okay, so you got a couple teams, but, and it's like, you get that first win, you have the confidence. All the pressure is on the Warriors, right? Now the Warriors have to prove that they can beat you, right? But when you lose that first home game against the team, and it's hard to beat anybody in, 2 straight games, but the Warriors did it. And, what happened was you lose that first game. Now the pressure is on you because now the Warriors know we can beat you and we can beat you on your home court. We just got to keep it close and we can finish this, right? Because, again, that first game was very similar. And then you got this game. It was very similar. So, Warriors, again, are that team that has the experience, and you're a team that is trying to kind of prove yourself. And at least in these 2 games, in my opinion, they just failed to do so. Now, again, it's not Chicken Little, the sky is falling yet. You have an opportunity to bounce back. These other games are very winnable for you at home during this home stretch. But I worry about that road trip. There was even an executive, one of those anonymous executive things that, came out and said, like, hey, take the Spurs as a team that's going to start free falling here a little bit. And it wouldn't shock me. I hope not, right? I don't want to see them too. And again, it's not just because of this game, but again, it's just, you've seen the inexperience. You've seen, a team that started off really hot, played some games, right? And it's not even about the right, people bring up their opponents and stuff. Like, it's none of that, right? Their job is to beat the teams in front of them. You're supposed to beat the teams you're better than, and they have, right? So my concern is, again, you're going to start getting into those tough stretches. You're going to start getting into those tough road stretches, those tough road games, in which are you going to be able to close those out more often than not? Or is your inexperience going to continue to show? That's where my concern lies. That's where the dilemma lies. They really got to figure out how to win these close, tight games. But again, it'll come. Look, if they lose in the first round, it's not the end of the world. They're an incredibly young team. They have a lot of years of greatness coming. Not worried about that. It's just, again, it's frustrating to drop these type of games. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. It's me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.